Hey everybody, you're listening to the Combo Wombo podcast. I'm Chip Monk, and with me as always is the Mr. Gimpy.
Chip, what's up, bro?
Yo.
dude, cranking a Red Bull today, you know, just to get
Cranking,
going.
Purple drank over here.
Those drinks. Hey,
The family
blueberry
dropped
Red Bull
it
is
off.
purple. Oh, really? They just walked up and said, "Here you go. Here's the purple drink," and walked out.
They gave me a bag of soup, dude. I've never in my life have gotten a bag of soup, but they've been, gardening, making fresh veggies and stuff.
Oh, okay.
So I think they made like fresh homemade soup.
Yeah.
And then they just put it in like a Ziploc bag and froze it.
Yep.
And then they handed me a bag of soup. They're like, "Here's a bag of soup." And I'm like, "Thank you." I was like, "This is weird, man. I don't know. I'm unclear on how to deal with getting the soup unfrozen."
Oh, you can just
So
throw it in the fridge, and then
throw it in the fridge.
Yep, throw it in the fridge overnight. It'll be ready to go. And then just boil the soup. What kind of soup is it? Is it just like
I don't know. It's written on the bag. I didn't even look at it. I was like, "It's a bag of soup." I was like, "It's a bag of soup, dude." But also in that gift bag was like a bottle of purple drink, like purple UV vodka. So I was like, "All right, yeah."
Hey, that's a hell of a gift basket. It's like, here's some soup for to satiate you, and then here's some drink to put you to bed.
Yeah, it's a little nightcap.
It's all right.
It literally made my whole day, like everything, like my whole week was brighter. Like never, like you think like the little things in life that you get, like sometimes a bag of soup will make somebody's day brighter.
Dude, no joke. The little things do make everything, especially with just kind of like the turmoil in the world, right? And I
wasn't going to bring up all that, bro.
No, I won't, right? But just in general, right? And then like for me, I'm
out here talking about bags of soup, dude. You're bringing down the whole bags of negative energy, dude.
my day job, right, was cranked up for a bit. It's settled now. I got my giant project done, so I'm back to just chilling, right? And certain little things in the day, just make it better. Like my daughter drew me a picture, and it was just of her and I playing video games together. And I was like, she's like, "This is you." I was like, "Oh, this is awesome." That little thing made my day.
Nice.
So,
are you cataloging things? Are you like saving
kids?
that stuff? Yeah, from the kids.
Yeah. All that stuff's getting saved. So, each kid has their own they have their own book, but they also have like their own like shadow box thing, so where we put things per age that they are. So.
Yeah,
they can have something, or if they can have it, or it'll be for us to remember how young they once were when they're older and talking shit to us. So
time flies by, dude. That's the one thing I'm realizing as I get older, is I'm old now. I'm like, oh man. I was listening to this Louis C.K. bit where he was talking about like how his ankles were sore.
Yeah.
And he was like, he went to the doctor, and the doctor was like, "All right, what you're going to need to do is just stretch out now for 30 minutes. And he's like, "Yeah, but how are we going to solve the sore ankles?" And he's like, "No, bro, that's just, that's a new thing you got to do."
Yeah.
add that to your regime, bro. Like it's stretching 30 minutes.
Yep. It's rough, dude. It's rough.
Yeah.
So it's been a good minute since we've spoken, man. Like we're kind of on the 0 hour right now recording this, and I gotta say, what have you been up to, man? Because I know your internet died. What have you done to like make that week go by? Because was it out all week or was it just a couple days?
It was like spotty. Like we talked a little bit about it, where like the fan on the modem died, so it was like overheating. Okay. So to like combat that, I was like putting it out on my balcony and stuff to like cool it down, and then like plugging it back in. So I'd get like 2-3 hours, which is enough time to like watch a movie or something. But and my cable wasn't broken, but I didn't watch any TV or anything. I just plugged it in. I do some drawing, just sketching, just the basic fundamentals still. Yeah. I've filled up like a 30-page sketchbook at this point. So
yeah, man.
It was just that, man. Just a lot of perspective and foreshortening practice. And I got an app on my phone. I think it's called Sketchfab. It's a website that has like a bunch of 3D models, but they have like a built-in thing to view the 3D model, so you can like spin the model around and look at it from like any angle.
Oh, okay. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So we can really study it. That's sweet. That's awesome.
So I did that, man. I downloaded that app and like I take a little model and like look at things from different angles and then try to sketch the same thing several different times. And nothing fun. Nothing, it's not the sexy part of art. It's not the finished thing that nobody talks about, like, drawing, circles and gestures and
right.
perspective. Nobody's like, oh yeah, you gotta spend hours doing this.
There's nothing sexy about what you're doing.
Yeah, it's like the low tier but fundamentals. But I've been getting a lot better at this. We've talked about like several times on the podcast where I'm like, I have really good hand-eye coordination, so I got to skip like all the basic stuff.
Yeah,
which has come back to bite me in the ass because now I can't draw anything from imagination. Like everything's just like off slightly and looks weird, but I can render things really well. And like if I have a picture of it, I can draw it. But if you don't, like, good luck.
Do it from your mind's eye, right?
Yeah.
Shit.
Jeez, you're falling apart over there, man.
All right.
Gee, your desk was thirsty, dude. Drop it.
Thirsty, dude. I think I grabbed it right away. Let me party foul. Keep talking. No, I'm kidding.
Dude, you're messing up. I can ramble about perspectives and art forever, dude. Like,
we're good. It just there's
every major skill set can be broken down to the fundamentals.
Keep going. No, I'm good. It didn't go anywhere.
All art is additive and subtractive if you think about it.
I had Chick-fil-A yesterday while I was
it all goes back to basic mathematics.
And I had the napkins just right here. It actually just spilled on the napkins, so not a big deal.
So shout out to Chick-fil-A.
Shout out to Chick-fil-A for that. It was terrible though. Like the food was bad. Like it was like the worst Chick-fil-A I've ever had. I'm probably never gonna order it again. But those napkins came in clutch right there. But dude,
what happened with your order, dude? What, they do you dirty?
No, it just when you order like a chicken sandwich, like you have that 1 out of 100 chance to get like that piece of chicken that's just like this weird like tendon piece that's like chewy as hell and doesn't like, it's like the worst mouthfeel.
The gizzard.
Like that was because I got the spicy chicken sandwich from there. That was my whole sandwich.
You got a gizzard sandwich?
I ate like 3 bites, right? And then the fourth bite was that fucking nasty thing.
It's like chewy.
Fucking gross. Yeah, exactly. It's chewy. It doesn't like break like everything else that you're biting.
Yep.
So gross, dude. So
got
I'm like,
a little texture to it, a little history.
Off, right? Went to bite another bite, same fucking thing. I'm like, and I open the sandwich up completely, and I look at it. This whole fucking thing's just like this big, just chunky fucking tendon thing. I'm like,
just the gizzard, dude. You got the end piece.
The fucking thing in the trash, dude. Is garbage.
You're supposed to boil that down and make a soup out of it, dude. Like get it down to, turn it into a stock, dude. Like a nice.
Right.
You're not supposed to make a sandwich out of that. That's ridiculous.
Fucked up, dude. It's fucked
Boil
up.
it down, put it in a bag, give it to somebody, make their day, dude. Like,
I'm the type of person who, if that happens to me, I'm probably never going to that restaurant for at least a year, maybe more. Like it's like ugh. It's gross.
And like I feel like a lot of people need to like make a big deal out, especially like in the modern age of the internet, where they're like, oh, it's this whole corporate. It's like, no, sometimes it's just like a bad deal, and like I'm just not going there, and I don't need to tell anybody about it. I'm just like, I remember that happened to me where I was buying cards from a major card distributor, for trading cards, and me and my bro went in there. We're a couple of shady kids. This is a long time ago, but like I go in there, I just gotten paid, so I had like literally cashed my check. I was like a little kid, so it was like $400 or $500. So I cashed that, but it's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money,
just like 20s. So like I'm like, I'll get you whatever you want. So like the professor's like, oh, I want like this, and this, these little booster packs. So I'm like, okay. So I pull out like this wad of money. I'm just like, throw down like $20. It wasn't nothing, but like anyone with eyes could see that I had like several hundred other dollars in my hand. So the guy's like, all right, and like he didn't put it through like the metal scan thing that like disarms it. So like we go through, it goes beep, beep, beep. He's like, oh, you guys need to empty your pockets. I'm like, no, you just didn't put it through the metal thing. Like this is you. And he's like, no, empty your pockets. I was like, all right. So we empty our pockets, and like we both try to go through again. And it's like beep beep beep. I'm like, yeah, bro, you need to do the thing. And he goes, dude. And then like we walk out, and I'm like, man, fuck this store. We're never coming here again. It's like that was ridiculous. Like, like bro, I have several $100s on me. I don't need to steal your $20 booster pack.
Booster packs, you fucking chode.
Like you're fucking up, bro. Like it's not me. It's not my fault. You can't do your job.
Right.
And I'm still salty about that. I haven't gone back since to that store. Just one bad experience.
Like 15 years.
yeah. And that store went out of business.
Good.
Yeah.
I think I know what store you're talking about. Actually, I won't mention it, but I think I do know.
Yeah, who
the
cares?
Downtown area.
Yeah, we're not gonna give them any more.
For sure.
No free advertisement. Not like Chick-fil-A, where it's one bad incident. Like we'll still fuck with Chick-fil-A at a later date.
Right, later date. I think their breakfast is still fire though. All
right, it's not like Popeyes where people are like getting shot over their sandwiches.
Nah.
Like we got a new sandwich.
People are fucking getting robbed.
Yeah, like, dude.
Let me get your Jordans and your Popeyes, and we're looking at it.
Dude, it's a gamble every time I've gone to Popeyes, dude. Like I only order that now, like where I'm like, just deliver it to me. It's no chicken sandwich reward is worth this,
dude. So my wife has said I'm bougie, right? Just in terms of like my food and shit, because it's really hard. Like the only time I'm eating fast food is when I don't feel like cooking. Right? Fast food isn't a treat for me; it's a settlement.
You're just like,
yeah. I enjoy what I make more than anything that I will buy. You know what I mean? So my wife was all like, just eat the damn sandwich. I was like, nah, I'll make this at home. I'll wait to eat. We were out with, someone for family, right? And they're like, oh, hey, let's go here and eat. And I'm like, nah, I'm good. It was just like one of the chain restaurants that I knew has trash food. It rhymes with Schmapplebees. It's just all their shit's microwaved. I'm just like,
yeah. It's like I know it's microwave. It's microwave. Like whatever. Like that's what I was just talking about my one coworker where I was like had a microwave dinner, and I was like, this is basically the fancy feast of like food for people.
Sure.
It's like a microwave dinner where it's like it's not quite dried kibble, but it's slightly better than that.
Right. And then you get to like the frozen skillet meals, where you just put on a skillet and just heat up. That's like the higher tier canned food. Like
sizzling.
I'll say nothing wrong with that, right? But when you like with the pandemic, right? A lot of people leveled up some skills. For me, I've always had a pretty good just palate. My dad was a chef, for a while, and just kind of didn't like the industry and just moved on to.
Are you gonna go get a certificate for wine tasting? Is this where this is going?
No.
This all of all. You're like, I'm going back to community college. I'm getting my certificate for wine tasting. I'm changing up the whole game.
But like my sister and I both have really good palates, right? And my dad used to do contests for where he would make something, and we'd have to pick out what's in it just from taste and smell, right? So we would do that when we were growing up, and I was like, why don't I use this with cooking, right? I felt I was always pretty good at cooking in general, but my the things that I would want to make were just limited because of time. Then with the pandemic, I'm home all the fucking time. I'm like, why don't I make this? I make whatever. So now, like, and my wife and kids are benefiting. They're like, oh shit, this is all good, Then last summer I went out myself and the friend of the podcast, Intoxicated Fable, went on a Wagyu beef buying spree. Just dropped our checks on it, and we spent like a month doing nothing but grilling different types of Wagyu.
All right, just you and the boys out in the countryside, setting up a little grill and Wagyu beef.
And like my kids, right? Like they're eating Wagyu beef. I'm like, they have no idea how lucky they are right now that we just, like I got a bonus from work and Fable like was switching jobs. So we got like his last check, and we just I was like, we combined and just bought a shit ton of Wagyu, dude.
That's where I used to live over by the Hood store, dude. Like they had like a butcher shop in it, and like that makes all the difference. Like if you're going to like a butcher shop for your meat, dude, it's a game changer. Like after that, I was just like, all the rest of this meat is just actual trash. It kind of messed up my palate, honestly. Like
it's hard getting ground beef, right?
It's hard going back, dude, to like a major chain store and being like, oh yeah, give me this meat, this mystery meat where I don't know how long it's been back there.
Right. Or when they grind it up and they like vacuum seal it in a tube.
They use the meat glue.
Yeah, I'm like, fuck that, dude. I'm not buying that shit. It's not because I don't like. People are like, oh yeah, you can't see it, you can't trust it. I'm like, no, I can trust it. Fine, I know the vacuum sealing process will keep it fresh. It's like it's the density of it. It just doesn't come out right. So there's that. So maybe I am bougie. When it comes to food, maybe I've always.
I don't know. Sounds like you've evolved to like I call it like a 3-star chef now, where like you're using your taste and smell sense to like figure out what's missing. You're like, what's there's need a little bit more, a little something to it.
Right. Which is bad, and it's fun. Like when I'm out with the boys or whatever, and I'm like, hey, yeah, I'll cook. I don't care, But what's nice about our friend group though is everyone cooks. Yeah. So it's never like one person. It's just like one person goes, I'll do it, and everyone's cool with it. Because we trust the abilities to have everyone.
It was the craziest thing when we had Friendsgiving and everyone came correct with like a feast.
Oh, dude,
the feast of foods, dude.
Up. Hell yeah,
dude. That was insane. I was like, all right, I'm gonna show up. I'm gonna make some stir fry. I'm gonna try and stunt on these guys. And like everyone brought the hits out, and I was like, damn. I was like, I'm not even mad. It's crazy.
Right. For sure, man. So anyone listening to the pod, I know we talk about gaming and video games and stuff, but let's be real here. If
everyone's got to eat.
Friends, everyone's got to eat. Find friends who can cook and fucking just pig out, man. That's one of the best things of life, bro. Just
you gotta do it every day. Like you know.
Man. Yeah, there's a couple things that you don't want to fuck up on. You don't want to fuck up on your meals. You don't want to fuck up on your sleep. Like get a good pillow, get a good meal. Those are the two things.
I'm at the level now where I want to make my own spices and sauces, and there's like no one really teaches you that. Like it's hard to like find that cookbook where it's like, oh, this is how to figure out how to make good spice combos and sauces. Everyone's just like,
taste, bro.
You just gotta develop that over time,
Yeah. I have my own like spice combo I made for that's kind of my go-to for beef meals, and I made one for fish meals too that I'm kind of tweaking.
I threw this spice on these just some potato wedge fries.
Yeah.
And it was a game changer. It was like the best potato wedge fries ever. And I was like, I can't be the only one who's tasting this. Because like I made it for like a big thing at the old house where all the boys were over for like a fight night.
Yeah.
And like I like went back, I was like, damn, those things were flame. And like all of them had been wiped out. And it wasn't like a little bit of potato wedges. It was like, a whole sack of potatoes I had turned into these fries, and they were all gone. And I was like, yeah, all right. That's how you know it's good. It's like nobody will tell you; they'll just be gone. I'm like, damn.
Yeah.
People be calling you up the next day, like, you got any more than potato wedges, man?
Right. It's been the one thing I miss about LAN parties. Like as we were all landing when we were in our teens and stuff, and we got older, and the LANs got like left free and farther between. But the food and the snacks have gotten better, and the amount of alcohol. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like it just kept leveling up. I feel like the next time we can all get together for a true LAN, we're gonna even like fucking gourmet meal. We'll fucking clicking
a chef, a private, we'll hire private chefs to like
for sure
do prime cuts for us, man. I feel like the last time we did a pop, have we been playing Halo together? I feel like we talk about that?
Time. Yeah, we talked about that. Oh. Yeah.
I feel like that's the last major game I've played was Halo with you.
Yeah, man, it's been I think
been a while, dude.
It's been a while.
Aside from that, I was getting ready for my nephews to come over, so I purged my hard drive on my Xbox S, and then I downloaded a bunch of like little kid games off the Xbox Pass.
Yep.
So I had that ready. I put out my flight stick, and I was like, "This is gonna be great." And then the kids got sick, so they didn't come over, and I was like, "Dang it!" So now I had like all these little kid snacks and stuff over at my place, but they'd come by the next week with like that bag of soup, and so I reverse Uno'd them and brought out like all the snacks I had for them for the previous week, where I was like, oh, surprise, you brought me a bag of soup, but here's a bunch of bags of treats that I have for you. And they're like, they lost their minds.
That's awesome, dude. That's awesome.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's video games, bro. I don't know. You've been playing anything aside from Halo?
So, the last time we spoke on the pod,
years ago,
Elden Ring just came out.
Just dropped.
Today's episode of the pod, there's one thing I want to talk about. It's not just Elden Ring, even though I will talk about it because it's fucking
I feel
great.
Like it's just Elden Ring is what you want to talk about. Do you try to get me onto that sauce, dude? You're like, they have turtles in it. You can't ride them, but you could kill them, but nobody kills them. They just treat them as dogs.
No,
it's awesome.
I don't want to spoil anything for people, but yeah, you can hop on a turtle.
Spoiler alert, dude.
Yeah, no spoilers for sure. Dude, so playing Elden Ring, it reignited just my general. What's your favorite part of video games? Like if you're playing a video game and what's one thing you're looking for?
For me, it's good, tight controls and like an interesting story.
Okay.
If it has those things, like it can be through like world building or storytelling. You know, I think like one of the first games that ever captured my imagination as a child was like Mega Man. He's a fighting robot. You know, he's going as Dr. Wily. You know, it's
Yeah.
an interesting concept for a little kid.
Okay.
You know,
Okay. So I agree with a lot of
robots
that.
turned evil.
Right. I agree with a lot of that. But for me, man, one of the things that I still to this day love to death, and you know, from the types of games I play, I play shmups, right?
Yeah.
I play roguelikes. One of the things I absolutely love about games is fighting bosses. Whether it be mini bosses, main bosses, I love getting to the final boss fight, and especially that final boss fight is tough as nails. It's where you
Mega
have
Man
that
is all
legitimate
boss
sense
fights, bro.
of
Let me tell you
accomplishment.
about.
Oh, I know, I know. No.
The
So
game
Mega Man, you know, I always look forward to the bosses. Right, some of the stages are fucking amazing, and the stage music's amazing. But I always look forward to that boss right at the end, you know. And then X, like the Sigma fights in the different Sigma forms with referencing pop culture. Like Sigma had, you know, Wolverine claws. He had the lightsaber with like the Darth Maul and shit. So you know, a lot of cool shit, you know. But and playing Elden Ring, man, there are like over 80 bosses in that game, right? Not all of them required. Like you're just running along the world. It's like Breath of the Wild, Dark Souls kind of a game, right? Where you're just running on this open world and you could just come across a boss, dude, and it is fucking awesome. Like you know, obviously you can walk away from the boss and go level and go fight it again if you want, or you can be like me and be a fucking fucking badass and walk up and go, all right, I don't give a shit if I'm level 12. Let's go, motherfucker. You know, and fucking work at it, man. It's it just like the more I play that game, and I'm talking like I've have hundreds of hours in it, or 10. I have 29 hours in it, right?
I have 29,000 hours in it. No big deal.
I have a friend who's beaten the game, has all of the achievements. He literally, I think he beat it twice, or maybe he got all the achievements on the first go. I don't know if you can, but looking at his Steam profile, he has everything, and he's just doing PvP stuff now, and that's fucking awesome. But you know, he took the time to do it at 182 hours, I want to say. I don't know when he got it,
bosses just turn into regular minions at a certain point in that game? Because I know that was like kind of the case for Dark Souls, where it's like one character's like you're fighting this guy as a boss, and like now he's just a regular minion you have to fight on the field.
Some, but not how you think. It's not like you meet a boss and then you see them populate on the world like some games. Some are just like the same type of creature that you see on the world, but like because you know you can explore, so you can like meet them further, but they kind of get introduced if you follow like the given path. They get introduced as a boss, then you'll start seeing them more in the advance later. But you can just see them like right away for some of the creatures that do, but that's not always the case. The creature design has been phenomenal, and I just wanted to take some time on this episode, man, to just talk about some of the why we like boss fights. What are some of our favorite boss fights?
Can we pause real quick and talk about how Breath of the Wild never did like all that DLC they promised?
Did they promise DLC?
Yeah, dude, they had like a motorcycle. They're like, yo, we don't, they're like, Nintendo doesn't do DLC. And then they like put out like 2 things of DLC and people lost their minds. And they're like, no, we got more coming, buy a seasonal pass. And then nobody else, then I don't think they ever dropped the rest of that DLC. And everyone got really pissed. And they're like, no, don't worry, we're making it a new game instead, where they're going to announce like the next installment of the DLC. They're like, oh yeah, about that, go fuck yourself. There's a new game coming instead.
It's so Nintendo is like 15 years behind the rest of the industry when it comes to online or DLC.
Yeah, they're like, we're going to experiment with this little thing called DLC, and everyone's like, bro.
Right now, their online infrastructure and business model is about where the 360 PS3 era was. So give them some time. You know, they don't know how it's working right now.
They don't know nothing. Is there any like DLC or anything planned for like Elden Rings?
Don't think so.
No,
don't think so. Right. But I mean, that's fine. The game's fucking huge.
Is it
fine.
Open? Is it like an MMORPG? Can I get into a game and play with you, or I need to invade like they used to do, where it's like I'm a ghost?
Yeah, it's like that. It's like I summon you to my world, or you can summon.
It's not like a Dragon's Dogma with like a pawn system or whatever, where it's like,
no, I've never played that game, so I don't know how that works, but
that's where like it takes the essence of your friend, and then like you play with like an AI instead of
no, it's really you. It's really okay. They'd be playing. It's very much akin to the Dark Souls format of co-oping and stuff.
Is it random, or can I like specifically go with my buddies?
You can specifically play with your buddies using a password system. So and people can invade you and shit. Yeah, it's fine, dude. It works just fine. I gotta say, man, though, it's like I would highly recommend it to everyone, Elden Ring. Even if you haven't played a Souls game and you're turned off by the difficulty, I feel like, yes, Elden Ring can be difficult, but I think with the open world nature of it, and just realize you don't have to fight a boss at that moment. You know, you can go do other things. You can level up and come back and fight the boss when you're a stronger level, things like that. I think it's easier to swallow for people, but it's hard for me to say that because I have previous experience playing those types of games, you know. But I will say that
still a huge turnoff for me, bro. I'm still, even with you trying to trick me into it, you're like, oh yeah, just you do your 2 hours, bro. If you don't like it, just refund the game. I'm like, I don't know, dude. And like, I almost did it, and then I watched like a clip of somebody like jumping across rooftops, and all of a sudden some bullshit out of nowhere came up and like killed him, like some huge ass bird. And I was like, fuck this game, dude. That would just make me rage quit, dude. Like if like random shit like popping out of like the ether to kill me. I watched a dude like shoot a guy, and then that guy like appeared behind him like a goddamn anime villain and like one shotted him with a sword off a cliff, dude. I was like, come on, dude, this is crazy. I don't know.
So there's audio cues for all of that shit.
I feel like it's almost
with the game, man.
Like I feel like normal. I can't tell, like because like it's like the survivalship bias of like what becomes viral on the internet. So I'm sure it's like 99.9% of the game. Like it's fun, it's fair, it's like good combat and tight controls. But like that 0.1% of like bullshit gets memed and makes the internet, and like that's all I see. That's all that shows up on my feed is like, people saying the turtle's a dog, and like I'm like, oh, that's cute.
Yeah. See, I enjoy difficult games, right? And I play shmups because I like the challenge, I like the boss fights, right? And I like dodging bullets and it's pure skill to get you through these things for shmup games. I'd say, like, but I would never, for people who don't play shmups, I would never recommend shmups to them because I realize that I'm a bit of a masochist when it comes to those types of games. I will say
you're a tsundere, dude. Like what happened to you? You're like, Baka, I don't even like you. What's the difference between like somebody doesn't like a shoot 'em up, but who like where you would recommend Elden Rings versus?
No, and that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I know the reason I would recommend Elden Ring is because the game itself does not lock itself out based on your skill. You can level up with experience. You can take your time. You can just play the game as if you're playing another game and eventually get by. I feel like most people who play games nowadays know how games work, right? I've watched people who've never played that type of series before, but who are generally knowledgeable in video games to like give into the hype of Elden Ring and give it a try. Are they having a tough time? Sure. But what is it that people are afraid of to be challenged? Why in this day and age are people like, this game's too hard? The term too hard should never be a roadblock for anyone, truthfully.
Are you trying to say it's the age of mediocrity and instant gratification?
Gratification, mediocre.
You become an old man, dude.
It's not even an old man, dude. It is what it is. If I like, what is it, Skyrim or some mobile games or shit? No, so some mobile games for sure where you can just pay to skip a boss.
Yeah,
like, fuck that, And then there's other games
superpowers having a job
where you could pay to like for levels. Like, fuck that. You know what I mean? Like there's a point where you have to have your own self-worth to experience these things and to overcome these challenges. And boss fights are challenges you have to overcome. And the game itself being difficult, You're gonna let a bunch of ones and zeros with some colors on the screen fucking beat you in life? Like, I don't, like, fuck that, dude. I'm not gonna do that. I'll walk up and punch you right in the mouth.
Like, from like a raw numbers perspective too, it's not really working, because we see a lot of these elements creeping into games like World of Warcraft, where like they bring in like we can just pay for gold or like instant boosts and stuff, and like nobody likes that. Like, you can see like they have like the lowest subscriber numbers ever now. Is like people are just like leaving in droves, and they're like, oh, what if we make it more instance? What if we got rid of all the community elements, the discoverability? And it's like, no, people actually enjoy that stuff. Like, people enjoy like trying to figure out how to beat like a raid boss together, where you have to like work on your communication and like with a group of people and figure out like the different phases of that raid boss. Whereas like now it's just like, or you can just instant raid, and if you didn't watch the YouTube video, we're kicking you out of the group right away. Like, nobody enjoys that. It's like a bad experience for veteran players and like newer players, like trying to get into that experience, you know?
Yeah, true. But I'd say that games nowadays, and I feel the industry as a whole and gamers as a whole are craving a challenge again, right? Because we went through, I'd say, like the tail end of the 360 and the beginning of the PS4, Xbox One era. Games were probably the easiest they've ever been outside of the Souls games and the games inspired by it. But then we've had this, we started getting this other retro 16-bit wave of games coming out with an actual challenge, and these games have done very well for themselves. The Valkyrie fights in God of War, the Hollow Knight optional bosses that fucking will balls to the wall, difficult and fun. From Super Meat Boy, which is a tough as nails platformer that came out. Things like that where it requires mechanical skill, but also like pattern recognition, things like that. And the other thing with boss fights, man, is boss fights pretty much have defining music in games that will stick with you forever. You know what I mean? Like having these epic soundtracks, and there's like, everyone loves a cool ass soundtrack to going with the boss fight, right? Where you just feel like a badass. Like there's only one chance to make a first impression, right? And when you first fight a boss, and he has or he or she has some big fucking swelling music coming in the background, and as the fight goes on, there's crescendos and shit, there's peaks and valleys, you're feeling like a huge fucking badass. Like, that's something that gaming can give you that no other medium really can. You know, because you in that fact are a badass. It's not someone else. You're not watching someone on screen doing it. It's you're controlling this avatar. You're doing it, and that's fucking amazing. There's only like a couple things in life where you are the center of attention, and there's a soundtrack to your life. If you're a wrestler, when you're coming out to your entrance music, right? Or if you're playing a video game and you're coming out and you're a fucking badass, dude. Like if I could have entrance music for myself in real life to whenever I walk into a goddamn room, I would, because that shit's awesome.
Did you watch the AEW Revolution that was on like a couple of weeks ago? Because my buddy was telling me that was like an absolute banger event.
No, I have it. I have it ready to watch, but I haven't.
All right, I've been threatening to watch it to my coworker, because he's the one who like put me on it. He's like, "Yeah, I'll watch it," and I was like, "He was telling me about like the lineup," and I was like, "Damn, that sounds crazy."
Is that with because Jeff Hardy just came back too, right?
So, a bunch of people were there. So. Like, I guess like William Regal showed up. He was like throwing hands with people. I don't know. Like WWE's been messing up as well with they fired a bunch of people because they're trying to save money, and I guess McMahon was like, we got my whole family's turned against me. And it's like, bro, you try to bust out with the XFL again, bro. Like,
I will say that there's some big, like, we're recording this on a Saturday night. Last night, Big E of the New Day broke his neck on a botched spot. So, well wishes to him. If anyone watches wrestling, Big E is an awesome wrestler, former world champion from a few months ago. Shout out, hopefully, speedy recovery to Big E, because that was on unfortunately, that was like trending on my own Twitter feed, and it's like, oh god, I don't want to see that. But
it's a dangerous sports entertainment. It's dangerous business, man. Like, I try to explain that to people. Like, they even had like Shaquille O'Neal come out to try and do a spot where like they threw him through a table.
He went through a table, yeah.
But then like he like kind of disappeared from like an ambulance, and like they didn't really talk about it after that. I'm like, yeah, I think he messed up, dude, because he like looked actually hurt. Like that, I don't think I've seen Shaq try and pretend to be a genie. His acting isn't like that great. Like it looked like he actually got kind of fucked up on that, and like he actually had to go to a hospital.
The
where
chef
it's like
knows how to fall though. Like he tucked his head. I think.
But
he's
like
also
when you
50
go
years old.
through, when you go through like any piece of like wood or prop or anything, like there's just like an element of randomness where like you can just get hurt. Like like if a wood shard like stabs into you, like it's not fun. And like everything they do is insane. Like to just put your body through like that kind of abuse. Like it's nasty, dude.
For sure, dude. For sure.
But yeah, man, like it's become like a huge internet meme. It's like boss music. It's like, why do I hear boss music? And like you said, it's like wrestling is like one of the only mediums where it's like theme, setting, like story, like all that like plays huge into video games, and bosses really add that like exclamation point or period to the end of a chapter or like the beginning of like a new adventure. And when start off talking about like Mega Man and you steal every boss's power and use that to be like another boss, and it's almost like a rock paper scissors literally like in that game where it's like fire beating ice and ice beating. There's some combinations that don't make sense, all right, I'll admit it. Where it's like leaf beats like whatever, like wood, and you're like
Shade Man where his power beat like water or some shit, I can't remember.
Throw shade onto water. It was a simpler time, like we didn't have to make sense. But yeah, man, boss fights change up the landscape. All Elite Wrestling changing up the landscape. That's all I'm saying.
I love how you can always bring up All Elite Wrestling in this pod, no matter what. I could be talking about anything, man. I was like, hey, I had pancakes for breakfast. Did you see All Elite when I was eating pancakes?
They're doing crazy shit, dude. Like William Regal showing up, Sting, Big Show. Like I don't know. They're doing. They got Kenny Omega, bro, a 3-time champ. He's a 3-way champ. It was champ, triple champ, dude, at the same time.
I get you. For sure.
New Japan Wrestling, Ring of Honor, All Elite Wrestling, holding the championship in all three for a little bit.
Yep.
Who else is out there doing that? Who's out there putting on hour-long matches, getting a 10 out of 10 in Wrestling Magazine? Nobody.
God damn it. But dude, I just wanted to going back to the video games I was talking about.
All Elite Wrestling video game out now on mobile.
If you can have 3 boss fights where you that stuck with you, could you like what would they be? I'll give 3 of my.
I'll go like number 1 for me is that goddamn. I think it's Mega Man 5 with the dragon that changes form, where you have to do like the platforms and all that bullshit.
Oh, the Wily fight, yeah.
Yeah, it's so fucking hard. Like it is. Like that game's already brutal enough, but like that boss fight's just fucking insane.
Yeah.
Then I would say like I think said Hollow Knight, where you have to like fight all the bosses as well, like in their the Pantheon. Sure. Yeah. I'd say that's another one. And then I think Devil May Cry, they have like a few like extremely memorable boss fights, like good set pieces. I think where it's like I want to say it's like the newer Devil May Cry. I think it's like 5, where you fight like the news.
Media. yes, the media, yeah.
That's really just sticks in my mind. It's just like a really good set piece, and like
it's in the reboot,
they've been building up to, and you're like, damn, that's pretty good.
It's awesome, man. So there's so many to list for me. I won't mention any from the Souls type series just because I feel those are in vogue, and I think everyone would definitely check those out anyway. Like
being a hipster right now, dude.
No, I'm not trying to be. I just think that everyone's like kind of going back into that style of series, and you'll find those out yourself. I think the roadblock bosses are always very memorable. Like Gascoigne from Bloodborne. Second boss in Demon Souls, or actually that level, the tower that you go through with like the mind flayers. Let's see, Dark Souls, the giant like ogre with a big fucking hammer that you have to kill first. Just some definite roadblock bosses, or in Elden Ring, which everyone is talking about, Margit. Definitely a roadblock boss. Those are all super memorable, and I think they will stick in everyone's heads for a long time. But
like let's final boss for Metroid, where like you have to like retread the entire map to like escape from like the
Oh,
The
after
map
after
is
fighting Mother Brain, yeah, that's true. That's true. I love a good escape sequence, but I will say, as far as final bosses that I absolutely love, I will do Queen Larsa from Mushihime-sama Futari, which is a shmup, and it has some of the most badass music ever. Just this crazy ass guitar riff, and I absolutely love when the evil person has like an evil cackle or an evil laugh. You know, I think them being that confident where they're laughing at you just adds so much. So when you win, it feels awesome. You know, like when I play Valorant, one of my favorite characters is Reyna. When you get an ace, she does like an evil laugh with it too, and like, oh yeah, it feels awesome. You know,
nothing beats like that early 2000s Sega voice acting, like the House of the Dead style, like you know what I'm talking about, where it's like yeah.
For sure,
it's perfect.
For sure.
This just really hit the head. It was like it's super stiff and just like delivered plain. Like it was like somebody gave them like a list of words to say and they just like deliver it.
Yeah.
The like other suffer like G did.
Yeah.
What? He's just gonna say that
for sure. The other one I would say is I would pick
Shenmue. Thursday's coming. Did you bring a coat?
Shenmue's.
Shout out! I just saw fight. Shenmue added an anime.
It's their second attempt at one. I'm pretty sure, right? Yeah.
I don't know. It's out right now. I don't know. I haven't watched it. I tried to watch. I think it was Cyberpunk. They also had an attempt at an anime, but it's all 3D and it's looked kind of poorly done. I told you about like all of Tencent's like attempt at like doing like PlayStation 2 cutscene animes, and I watched some of those. Those are all right.
Okay. The other boss I'd have to say is one of my all-time favorites, the Death Egg robot, the mech that Dr. Robotnik builds at the end of Sonic 2. Such a fucking awesome ass fight. You have like one ring going into it if you manage to save it from your fight with Silver Sonic. So fucking awesome. Great fight, and the Death Egg explodes and you're falling to earth at the end, and Tails catches you on the plane, or if you've got all the emeralds, you'll fucking turn into Super Sonic and just fly because you're fine. But such a cool fight, dude. The Death Egg fight. I think that from when I was a kid is probably that, and beating Shao Kahn are my two most memorable ones from when I was a kid, right? Like Death Egg and beating Shao Kahn from Mortal Kombat just always stuck with me. And I would say for this last one that I'll list, there's so many boss fights where I don't think I have a favorite. There's just I can always just name somewhere I'm like, this is a really good one. Fighting God in Bayonetta, which was also your father as well, Baldur. And at the end, she just it's actually a legit fight. And at the end, she has like this lipstick bullet, says "Don't fuck with the witch," and shoots the guy in the face. It's fucking awesome. Just a real badass moment. Platinum Games. Boss fight. Platinum Games really knows how to put on a fucking boss fight, dude. Like Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance, every boss in there feels fucking amazing. I will do a special shout out. It's not the final boss, but the Metal Gear Ray and Metal Gear Rex fight in Metal Gear Solid 4. Fucking so iconic, dude. So goddamn iconic. That whole setup, man. It's because you had 20 years of fucking culmination of this moment, where you actually get to fucking pilot the Metal Gear that you've been working in all of these games to fucking destroy and stop. Yeah. It's like now I'm in it, bitch. Let's go. It's so fucking cool. I think that's one thing where people are all like, games are stupid, right? Like I think games are now.
Nobody says that, dude. Nobody.
Growing up they did though, right?
Yeah.
Why would you say that? Like old people go, oh yeah, why are you playing games? Games are dumb. Actually, even now, like I've met people who are all like, you're wasting your time playing games. Why aren't you doing anything? I'm like, motherfucker, fucking. I was like, what do you do for fun? Fucking sit there staring off into space or what? Like everyone has to have a hobby, man. But where we have on TV that people used to say rots your brain, right? We have prestige TV now. We have great shows like Breaking Bad. We got the Netflix series that are coming out. We got Amazon doing like The Boys and other big shows like that. Game of Thrones, all of that, right?
Invincible,
right? Right, exactly. We have that where TV's elevator where people are all like, "Oh, you watch TV? I love these shows. I love to binge these shows," right? Where if we go back like 20, 30 years ago, if you're binging a show, you're wasting your time, right? They're all like,
I'm
"You just
watching
sat in front of the
Everybody Loves
TV
Raymond.
watching." Right. Exactly.
How
Exactly.
dare you?
Where even movies, right? Movies had that same negative connotation. It's like you go and sit down and watch a movie all day for like 8 hours. Like what are you doing with your life, you know? Now games, people are all like, there's some certain things I like, but it's everyone has that same experience,
I'm
and
just
that's
at
one
the
thing
point
that
where like, does this bring you joy? Are you like sometimes the just enjoyment of doing something is the worthwhile endeavor of doing it, man. Like you don't have to. I don't know. I feel like it's like a weird. We've touched on it before. It's like the toxic hustle culture in America, especially where it's like you gotta be adding value to everything always.
always be
Everything you do,
hustling.
like you have to, yeah, you always have to be trying to make money and doing stuff. It's like sometimes you can just relax and have a good time, man. Sometimes,
Yeah, man.
and like that, and again, like you probably don't want to be like. I think where it gets bad or toxic for you if you're using it as escapism from like your everyday responsibilities. Like if you're not taking care of like your four walls, your family, yourself, like yeah, you probably need to take care of that shit first. But like
Right.
everything else you're doing for enjoyment, like whatever, like
Yeah,
should be
yeah.
you should have fun, man. Like I don't know.
Well, way to bring down a room, Chip.
You're not a work drone. Escape.
But I'll say that like one thing that
Sometimes you can drink purple drink and watch AEW Revolution on pay per view.
the 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 soul thing that boss fights do, that the Souls series and From Software's efforts have done, is everyone has this shared experience and shared accomplishment of beating it, right? Everyone has a point where they got stuck in the game and like, fuck this game, turn it off or whatever. Or, if they're like me, they just keep going. But eventually when you get through that, if you're talking to someone else who has played that game or has gone through that same thing, they know exactly what you're talking about, right? And there's like people, the big thing going around that whole series is get good, right? People use that as like a insult. It's not an insult. They're just saying, you know, it's a mindset. Just keep trying. You're gonna get better. You'll beat it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not an insult. It's just it is what it is. It's a Souls culture thing.
Yeah, it's definitely like even a cultural touchstone for like anybody who plays video games. Like a lot of the boss fights we've even talked about. Like if you call back, like people, I'm sure like remember the boss fights in Mega Man fighting the dragon or like escaping like in Metroid. Like that shit sticks with you. And like
Yep.
if you say that and like, you played it and like went through that, you're like, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Dude, that's insane. Or like doing like trying to do boss rushes in Hollow Knight, or just like even trying, like you said, like the first boss that you fight in Dark Souls with the
It's the
was
roadblock boss. Yeah.
yeah, and people remember that, and like then they'll talk about it and they'll be like, oh, you can like jump down and like you can one shot them if you get it right, and they're like, oh shit, that's crazy. I didn't know that. Like so it's definitely like a cultural touchstone for gamers. I think where that's what boss fights tend to be a lot more as well. It's like just good touchstones for like other people, like, oh, you remember this shit, and like, yeah, I do.
Yeah, man. Like Sifu, which I was raving about, one of my favorite games released this year so far. I got the platinum trophy on it, got every achievement, beat the game without dying on top of that, right? Why? Not because I didn't know that wasn't tied to an achievement. I was kind of looking for that for the hidden ones, but that wasn't one. But it was fun, right? I felt that I mastered the mechanics of the game, and fighting the final boss and fucking parrying the shit out of him, countering him all the time. It was mechanical skill, and I went through it. I've watched other people stream Sifu and watched them struggle, but then watched them learn the game, and you can see when someone's really in the zone, like after they beat a certain fight, they get that swell of emotion, right? Where they're just like super excited about it. And that's what I'm here for, man. That's what gaming does, man. It can build you up just from an interaction on a screen, man, and it's absolutely incredible. That being said, I am looking forward to beating Elden Ring. I know some, like a lot of my friends, actually every one of my friends is further than I am in that game, and they haven't told me anything because they haven't been spoiled. But I'm looking forward to continuing that game and just seeing what it has to offer. I'm in Rhea Lucaria Academy right now, and it is phenomenal. And I'm fighting a certain red-colored boss right now, and that's a very fun fight. So
nice.
you
Are
know,
you
I'm looking
streaming the
forward to
game at all,
continuing
or
on.
are you just
No, I decided to make
playing
my
at your own
first
speed?
playthrough, play it at my own speed, play it on my own, just to really enjoy it and soak in the world. My biggest annoyance would be having someone jump into my stream and kind of either backseat or ruin what's coming next. So I wanted to
Jeez.
do that first, or to just, like, tell me a cheese strategy, like, don't
Yeah.
fucking do that. So just let me figure it out. So after I beat it, I'll probably stream it or do one of the other Souls games because I own them all. So we'll see. But yeah, man, I'm looking forward to it. And I have to say, like, that's one thing that if a VR is missing anything, it is the seminal boss fight.
Oh.
I think if a developer really can lock in and make a memorable, like, big boss fight, um, that's something that I think would be absolutely incredible. I think Half-Life Alyx did a really good job of, like, the final set pieces and stuff. But I would like a final kind of insurmountable challenge. I'd say Until You Fall is the one game where you have, like, legit boss fights where you are actually doing it, because there's something different about physically moving, with fighting these bosses. Like, Until You Fall is a melee combat game, where you have swords, you have a sword and shield, and you actually have to move and parry shit, you have to block shit, and you have to, actually attack people and move. So when I get better at that game, it's like I'm getting better at the game physically. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's a different type of enjoyment and fulfillment of what the game wants me to do. So it's very fun, and I hope VR can take that to a whole new level. But looking forward to it.
Can I just say real quick here, my worst experience with boss fights or like scripted failure where you have to fail, but they don't tell you that. So it's like you'll spend all this time like aggravatedly like trying to beat this invincible boss, and like you basically have mastered the mechanics, so you're slapping the boss around, they can't touch you, and it's going on for so long, and then like all of a sudden like you hit like a certain time limit, and like all of a sudden you like get one shot at it, or like you trigger a cutscene where you get like pimp slapped,
Yes.
or like you just die, and then like that was supposed to happen, and then it's like, oh, now it's the next part of the game. I'm like, this is the worst design for a boss, in my opinion, where you're supposed to lose, like the
But
built-in.
you fight him again after
Yeah, and then
the
you
game,
like
though.
win, but like the fact that they have like a built-in scene where like you're supposed to lose on purpose, like that is the worst design. Like, just make it a cutscene. Don't put me in control, like if I'm supposed to lose that fight, if that makes
Interesting.
sense.
I,
It's like
I get it, but I also like that storytelling device. But I think at one point it was used too much.
I would say my other big problem too is like doing a lot of PC gaming with like a quick save. So it's like, oh, you'll load up and like never let yourself get to that like fail state to like never trigger the cutscene. You're like, I don't understand, why am I losing like over and over? Like I'm until you become like a god at the game, and then you're like, this guy's not touching me, but I can't beat him. Like, this is crazy.
I will say the Soul series does that, where you meet like a fucking big bulky boss, and it's one where typically it is possible to beat them, but it's kind of designed to show you what's coming at next, and then you build up to fighting that boss and beating it. So it's
the old pimp slap.
yeah. So I mean, if you don't like that, it's part of it. But I think the Soul series, it is a struggle, and that's the appeal of it.
It seems like they kind of
what made you struggle.
designed around that now with like Elden Rings too, where like you said, if you run into like any roadblocks, you just go around and like figure out something else for that. I would say my other big gripe for boss fights is like quick time event bosses, like where they'll just like
fight,
or they'll just randomly throw it in like into a fight, or like they'll trigger a cutscene after you beat the boss, and they're like, now this is a quick time event, bitch, figure it out.
Yeah.
It's like, I already put down my controller, I'm drinking a victory drink, having a swig of my glass, and now you hit me with like the quick time event, the combo. Like, I can't even deal with this, dude.
I don't know, man. I get why people don't like it, but when it's done well and it's like this big cinematic piece and you're kind of interacting with the cutscene, I'm okay with it a lot of the times. Like I was okay with fighting Wesker as Chris when people hated Resident Evil 5, right? I played it co-op and it was fucking a blast, and I will fucking die on the hill saying that game was super fun.
Is there anything like for a boss fight that they do that you don't like then? 'Cause for me, it's like those quick time events are like automatic fail states that they don't tell you about.
Probably. You know what? I actually don't care for like unblockable moments, you know, or not
Like not being able to dodge or block something that like comes like there's a huge laser beam. We're just gonna hit you with this no matter what you
like
do.
no matter what, right? Like
Yeah.
I feel like you should always be able to move out of the way, duck behind cover, block it, even if it takes some of your health or something. That might be it. I think armored moves are kind of annoying, where the boss will finish his animation no matter what, and because the armor's on. It's gotten better as gaming's evolved, but I'd say in the mid to late 90s to the early 2000s there were bosses with armor moves, but without like an animation showing you it's an armor move, where it's just that move's coming out no matter what. You know, I think that's it. And fighting games, particularly SNK and NetherRealm Studios, their final bosses are usually the AI's cranked up to infinity, and they're just designed to fuck you up, and they can spam things, and you just can't get out of it. That's probably
dude, that's also like where the
like fighting Rugal in King of Fighters 2002. Like fuck Rugal, dude. Or I think it was 2000 or 2002. Fuck Rugal to death.
Bosses that cheat also like really get after me, dude. Like where it's like I can't do this moveset even if I was playing that same character. Like, isn't it possible?
Yeah.
Like, or it's like a specific custom script just for that boss that they're gonna execute, and you're like, bro, like, I can't even do that. It was almost like a false advertising, like a commercial. like I want to be able to shoot like a fucking green laser beam out of my ass.
Do you remember when Akuma was a secret unlockable and he was the only one with a diagonal fucking Hadouken in the air? And you're like, what the fuck is this? And he was faster than everyone else too.
Yeah, man.
Like yeah, he was fun beating him finally, but yeah, he was some bullshit from the game he's first appeared in.
Cheat abilities.
Right.
Unblockable stuff. Yeah, man. Those are all bad boss design ideas in my opinion.
Yeah, but overall, you know, I think I like bosses. You know, that's what drives me in a lot of games. And there's definitely bosses in games still, but I feel like games that are designed where set pieces overrule the bosses. I like going back to just a pure boss. I like there's something to fight for. Like as fun as like Call of Duty and stuff is, you know, in single player, like kind of just going through a level and watching a cutscene just doesn't cut it, you know. So it's nice to go back. And while Halo has typically sucked having bosses, and they did better for set pieces, Infinite, the boss fights there I actually really enjoyed and thought they elevated the game. So 3 for 3 on the terms of single player proved me wrong. But yeah, guys, I think that's our time now. So let's sound off in the comments. Tell us boss fights you absolutely loved, and if you want to talk about, you know, Elden Ring and stuff. I tried to. It's in vogue now, so I didn't want to bring up stuff to spoil. But feel free. You know, other than that, Chip, you got anything to say?
Man, it's been a week. It's been great. I feel we touched on a lot of bad design decisions for boss fights. We talked about a lot of why they're memorable, why they're really fun and like interesting to, you know, touchstones for the community for all games, man. What about you?
Sure. I think I got everything off my chest that I needed to say. So with that I'm Mr. Gimpy. That over there, that's
Chipmunk.
And we are the Combo Wombo. I'll see you guys next week. Take care. Like, share, subscribe. We out of here.
You bitch.